yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutanamdharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutanamdharmasya tadatmanam shriramyaham. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutanamdharmasya tadatmanam shrijamyaham. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata abhyutanamdharmasya tadatmanam shrijamyaham. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sangstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sangstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sangstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sangstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sangstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sangstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge.
Kayena vacha manasendriyeva uryatmanava prakrite svabhava karomi aryat sakalam parasmai Jaya Shriman Narayana.
Jaya Shriman Narayana.
And everyone together. Jaya Shriman Narayana.
Jaya Shriman Narayana.
Jaya Bhagavan Shri Krishna.
Jaya Bhagavan Shri Krishna.
Jaya Shri Guru.
Jaya Shri Guru.
Sanatana Dharma Jayate.
Sanatana Dharma Jayate.
Dharma Rashtra Jayate.
Dharma Rashtra Jayate.
Surya Vangsha Jayate.
Surya Vangsha Jayate.
International Sanatana Dharma Society Jayate.
International Sanatana Dharma Society Jayate.
Om Hri Om. Very good. Namaste, everyone. It is absolutely my pleasure to be with you here, as always, coming to you from our temple here in Omaha, Nebraska, USA, what we call the Vedic Heartland, and our growing community here. Again, it's my pleasure to be with you. Before we dive into what we're going to be doing today, and that is speaking more and exploring more the Purusha Sukta, just a few very quick things that I wanted to say first. And this is a message that during a talk that I gave on our Discord server not very long ago. This is a message that I told people I was going to begin to tell people more and more all the time at this exact juncture in history. And that is this very important message. At this stage of history, that is, we're in the month of September of 2025. At this juncture in history, every person who is out there of goodwill, that means, certainly, of course, all of our people here in our temple. That means all of the people watching now, all of the people who will be watching this video on many different formats into the future. For everyone who is here now, you need to please do this with what is happening in the world today. You need to be white-pilled as much as possible. There's a lot going on in the world today, and I told people, generally speaking, I'm not someone who pretends I can predict the future and give you dates that, this is going to happen, etc., etc. No, but I do, due to the Vedic scriptures alone and the fact that I study them and have for 50 years, I have had a very good track record of, generally speaking, knowing where the world is going, and this has been the case for decades. And let me tell people, of course, as you know, I have predicted for a long time that we are going to experience a mini golden age within the context of the Kali Yuga. No, for New Age folk out there, the Kali Yuga is not ending in our lifetime. It's not going to end for over 420,000 years from now. And the Vedic scriptures, all of the Vedic scriptures make this clear. But we are going to be indeed entering into a mini golden age. And that's starting now. And let me just say that I have repeated to people again and again that, again, this is not fantasy. It's not that one day all evil will be defeated and we'll all be holding hands and skipping in beautiful wheat fields, singing and laughing after that. No, evil is still very much here. And indeed, evil is fighting back. And that being the case, oh yes, we're not out of the darkness yet. On the contrary, we have seen terrible things happen recently. We are going to continue to see terrible things happen. We have also seen, to quote myself, because I've said it in exactly these words again and again, we have also seen things the likes of which we have never seen before. And anyone who says that they have is lying. We have been seeing things in the news occurring throughout the world. We have seen executive actions of governments, the likes of which we have not seen, etc., etc., etc. And for the most part, all good. We have seen things happening among the general populace of citizens in America and nations throughout the world that have been good. We understand now, for those who didn't understand, I hope that you are beginning to see this now, that we are going in a good direction, generally speaking. Mixed? Oh yes, mixed. We're going to continue seeing bad things. And again, for people who are just inherently pessimistic, they see one bad thing over in the corner, and of course they fall apart and say, well, you see, where's this supposed golden age of yours, blah, blah, blah. No, I've told people we're going to continue to see tragic things happen. Indeed, we are going to see even the bad things, things we have not seen before. Things will even get, and I'm being very honest with people, a little bit worse, seemingly. They'll get, more than anything, a little bit more scary, seemingly. More than actually existentially worse. They'll seem scary. However, for anyone who has had their eyes open in recent days, weeks, months, we have seen that for every bad thing, there have been 100 good things. And I'm being very conservative. 100 good things that you can see. The things in the background, much more than 100. And for this reason, oh my Lord, we have every single reason imaginable to be white-pilled, to be positive, to be optimistic, to be happy, to be joyful. You know, for devotees, for Vaishnavas, who take shelter at the lotus feet of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, we know that Lord Krishna protects us. We know that we're protected by God. We know that ultimately, regardless of what we see, everything will be good. But now, more than ever, we are seeing victory after victory after victory after victory. Some of which I can't even talk about now, but you know what they are. And let me just say I'm not allowed to, but you know what they are. So indeed, we have every reason to be optimistic. The world is going, generally speaking, in a very good direction. That being the case, I want to ask everyone who is out there to never, ever lose hope. If you lost hope for one reason or another, now is the time to regain your hope. And this is the reason why. At this juncture in history, with everything going well, if you still find yourself personally in a seemingly hopeless situation, then you're being selfish, because we need you. We need you. We need every single good-hearted human being in this world today to help the good to become manifest. It is becoming manifest. More than anyone who is alive on the planet today, who is not an immortal, unseen by the human eyes, Let me state it again. Any human who is alive today on the planet has never seen the victories that the forces of goodness and Dharma are having today. I guarantee they have never seen. I have never seen in the context of this present lifetime. So that being the case, we need your help to continue all this goodness, having success and success and success. What that means more than anything is that if in recent days, months, years, again, you have found yourself feeling down, you have found yourself feeling dejected, feeling depressed, looking around you in years past and saying, oh my God, this is terrible, what's happening? And you've given up. Now is the time to no longer give up and to re-embrace reality. And what is that reality? That reality is not just the empirical, not just what you see around you. Indeed, today what you're seeing around you is victory of good. But the empirical is not alone. It's not just the empirical. God is with us. God has always been with us. God has been with us even at the darkest of times. Even when it seemed like our world was controlled by evil, God was still there in the hearts of his devotees. If you are a devotee, if you are dedicated to God, now is the time to arise, to stand, to reclaim who and what you truly are as a being who actually was born to be courageous, born to do good in this world. Now is the time. Get up, stand up on your own 2 feet, be courageous, begin to fix yourself. Begin to do all those things that you know you need to do to reconnect with God, to reconnect with Dharma in every way. Start to do your meditation each and every day. Begin reading the Vedic scriptures again. Read the Bhagavad Gita. Read the Srimad Bhagavatam. Those 2 alone. But then what to speak of the other works? Oh, read the Upanishads. And re-empower yourself. Ask God that he empower you such that rather than in your mind there being just darkness and negativity, ask God with humility but with great passion. Ask God that God please empower me such that I can be restored fully to who I truly am. And more, that once that is the case, that I can then do everything in my power to go out into the world and bring Dharma to others, bring the light of God to others, bring hope to those individuals who still, for one reason or another, personally feel hopeless. You, now, awaken and awaken others in every way that you can. Now is the time. Do not let this juncture in history, which will go down in history, which will be remembered, what's happening now, what will be happening for the next several months, years. Do not allow this juncture in history to go by and you are still sleeping. You will not forgive yourself. Now is the time to wake up. Now is the time to wake up to who you truly are and to do what God wishes of you, and that is to help to restore Dharma to this world. The time is now. And do it in any way that you can, big or small. Never think that you are so small that there's nothing you can do. Never think, oh, well, but I'm powerless. He must be speaking to somebody else, somebody with great wealth, great power, great charisma, great something. No, I'm talking to you. Whoever you are, if you think you have nothing, no, you have yourself. Dedicate that self, Atma Nivedana, Prajapati. Dedicate that self at the feet of God and allow God to empower you, and you'll be amazed. You may think, well, but I'm not educated, I don't have wealth, I don't have anything, I'm just working every day just to make ends meet. What can I do? What can I do? You will be shocked what you could do, but with the empowerment of God. And whatever it is, big or small, do whatever you can to help others in this world through Sanatana Dharma. Help us to get the message out of the International Sanatana Dharma Society This is not just an organization. I often say it's a movement. It's more than just a movement. It is the grace of God operative on this planet. Take everything that we've given you. Take the books. Take the videos, links to the videos. Take everything, anything you can, and spread them, share them everywhere there are good-hearted people. Speak to people you know who are sincere, who are good. And as we always say, not preaching to them, certainly not preaching at them, but teaching. Help others also who are in distress. Help them to see the light of God. In a very humble way, do this. If you are in a position where indeed you have some stature in this society, if you do have some wealth, if you do have some expertise, you're a professional in one way or another, oh yes, directly come, help the International Sanatana Dharma Society. Oh, we need your donations. I've said to very, very wealthy people in the past who have asked me, oh, Acharyaji, just theoretically, if someone gave you $1 billion today, do you know what you would do with it? And without hesitation, I say to them, I know down to the very penny exactly what I would do with every single penny in order to restore Dharma across the four corners of this earth. Oh, if you can donate, please donate. If you have a good skill, please join our Discord server. Hopefully the link is there already. If not, it soon will be. Join our Discord server. Volunteer. Help us with your expertise. What are you an expert at? We need help with everything. We need IT help. We need organizational help. We need managerial help. We need every sort of help imaginable. Help the ISDS. And in this way, by you doing something, if you have found yourself, again, having felt dejected and depressed, start to do good in this world. And I guarantee you, you will, as a result of that, begin to experience joy. So indeed, this is an important message that I'm going to be giving to people consistently from now on especially. I always have, but now all the time. Be positive. Be optimistic. Because God wins. Sanatana Dharma is the eternal, natural way. Contemplate those three words. There is no such thing as Sanatana Dharma having anything but absolute and utter victory. Be optimistic. Have hope. And based on everything that I've told you and so much more that I cannot say, have hope, have hope, have hope. Always have hope. So with that, I thank you for listening to that short message. We do indeed want to dive now into the Purusha Sukta, which we have been going through for quite some time. I believe this is the 8th session thus far, and we're not done yet. We'll continue going for several more sessions. But indeed, up till now, we have done, I believe, up until verse 16 of the Purusha Sukta. Now we're going to be diving into 17, and hopefully we'll get through more than just one verse today. We'll see what happens. But if you would like to follow along with these verses, if you're watching live on YouTube, please feel free to go to the description of this video. And that being the case, you'll see all the verses that we're going through. So now we're going to look at verse 17 of the Purusha Sukta. And it proceeds in this way. In the ancient days, Prajapati Brahma praised him. Indra, who knows all the four quarters, also spoke about him. Anyone who knows him thus will become immortal even in this life. For attaining liberation, there is no other path than knowledge of this Purusha, the Supreme Person. Beautiful. Very, very nice verse. And indeed, we see now, we understand why this Purusha Sukta is so well known. It is because it is, in a way, the philosophical heart of the Veda Samhitas. And let's go through this now. So first of all, in ancient days. Oh, again, I need to speak about what is meant by ancient, because of course, for individuals who are contemporary, i.e. people who are listening to this right now, when we hear the term ancient, that means something very different to us than what is meant in this specific context. This is, again, the year 2025. When we hear the word ancient, we think of, 2,000 years ago. For some people, ancient means 100 years ago. But for most people, we think of, 2,000 years ago, maybe 2,500 years ago, maybe a little bit more than that. Oh my Lord, maybe 5,000 years ago, etc. When the term ancient is being used here, it is talking about what people who lived tens of millions of years ago, what they would consider ancient. If you can envision this, if you can imagine this. So we're talking about something, the temporal phenomenon of which is something that we can scarcely really understand. We're talking about, again, what is the central focus time-wise from a temporal perspective, a historical perspective? What is the Purusha Sukta talking about? When does this occur? Everything that's being spoken of in the Purusha Sukta. It is literally the era of the cosmogony, the era of the beginning of our universe, the creation, the initial creation of our universe. So we're talking about billions of years ago. So indeed, when it is said here in ancient days, it's talking about literally billions of years ago, when the only beings who existed were first Brahma, and then the Prajapatis, those beings who come from Brahma, who are secondary creators after Brahma. It's then talking about the highest of divinities, of devas after that, what are called the celestial divinities. Then it's talking about what, using modern parlance, would be called the recognized pantheon of Vedic religion. So such individuals as Indra, etc., etc. This is all before there were even humans. Humans come later. And the first human is Manu, who was a deva, who was a god. Very good. So this is the first thing we have to understand, is the timeline. In ancient days, not according to us, according to people for whom we would consider them to be so ancient that it's inconceivable to us. We're talking about what's ancient days for them. So in ancient days, i.e. at the very beginning of the cosmogony, Prajapati. Now let me stop there for a second. Prajapati is a title. It means a progenitor. So thus there are multiple Prajapatis. Again, it's amazing how it's almost like a broken record to repeat this again and again and again. How much within the Vedic scriptures people get wrong. And you especially see this when you see the old 19th century translations, how they got everything wrong, they got everything confused. That's true even to this day, where people will think, the term Prajapati is one specific individual with a driver's license with his face on it. No. What is meant by Prajapati, this is a title. It's a plural, the Prajapatis. These are, to translate that term, the progenitors. The chief progenitor is Brahma himself. So thus this is also a title of Brahma. So thus here he is addressed directly by his title, not his name. His name is Brahma. His title, there are several of them actually. Hiranyagarbha is another. But in this context, again, context is always of importance. He is addressed as Prajapati, progenitor. So in the ancient days, Prajapati, the first progenitor, Brahma praised him. Now, and it stops there. This verse, this sentence, stops here. Why is this of significance? Well, several things. First of all, it gives you the idea of the context of when these activities within the Purusha Sukta are taking place, number one. Number two, it is explaining to you that we're talking about a time in which, with this sentence at least, there was really only one being in existence in our specific universe, that was Brahma. It also explains to you what is the actual nature of Brahma, A, but then B, it also explains to you what is the nature of the Purusha. All with this with this actually second clause of this first sentence. So, first of all, who is Brahma? And again, I have to go on and on about this because, I've read so many, not just have I read all the Vedic scriptures, I read so many different translations of even specific scriptures. When you look at the 19th century translations done mostly by British people, the German translations are a little better. But when you look at the English translations, meaning literally Indologists from England, they couldn't even get this straight. They thought Brahma meant Brahman. So they thought that, every time the scriptures mentioned Brahma, it was talking about God. So interestingly, this clause makes it very clear. Brahma is praising God. So thus, Brahma is not God. Does God have false ego? Of course not. Who praises themselves? People with false ego. So this is not God praising himself. This is Brahma, the creator being, a deva, an atman, like any of the rest of us, praising that being who is separate from himself, who is his source, who is his origin, and that is the great Purusha, the supreme being, what otherwise is known as Vishnu or Narayana. So that's what's being spoken of here. So A, you understand what is the position of Brahma. He is a servant of Purusha. He is a servant of God. But then also it gives you, by inference, a very clear understanding of what is the nature of this being, who it describes here as only him. It doesn't have to describe the supreme being in any other way, because for 16 verses previously, it made it quite clear who we're talking about. So at this point, if you've been speaking about Bob, and Bob this, and Bob that, and Bob this, and Bob that, and now you say, and also he does such and such, you know you're talking about Bob. The same thing with this Sanskrit construct. So we understand what is being spoken of is that which is vastly superior, infinitely superior to Brahma, him, i.e. him, the person, the supreme person, God. Now, we haven't even begun to look at this first sentence yet. Prajapati praised him. What is the deeper understanding of this? Why is this of significance? Well, in praising, what is operative when an individual who is in a position to praise and to thus describe the Supreme Absolute, which is inconceivable, what is operative? The voice, Vach. So what is being said here is that, again, Brahma praised him, praised God. So thus, that being the case, Brahma being in a position to understand God and the subject matter being God, the highest subject matter of all, if we wish to know truth, we wish to listen to that praise, i.e., we wish to learn from such utterances, from such words. And this makes sense so far, correct? And you know, of course, what I'm going to say if you have been involved in the ISDS for a long time. What does that mean? That means that, of course, we are to learn about God by such divine utterances, as in the Vedic scriptures, as in the utterances of rishis, gurus, acharyas, etc. So, let's go on now to the second sentence. Indra. So now, again, this is understood inferentially, and not just inferentially. This is why it's important, if a person is going to claim that they understand what's happening in one Vedic scripture, it's important that they understand the totality of the Vedic scriptures. Because it's in the other Vedic scriptures that we have the actual timeline laid out intricately. Here, that's not done because it's not necessary. It's understood that you already have this knowledge. So now we're talking about a different era. In the beginning, there's only Brahma. Then, further along the timeline, there's Brahma and the Prajapatis. Then, further along, there's Brahma, the Prajapatis, and the higher gods and goddesses. Then, finally, there are the mid-level gods and goddesses, such as Indra, who is the king of Svarga, very specifically. So it's understood that now we're talking about time-wise much later. So, that being the case, Indra, who knows all the four quarters. Stop there. Why is this said? Let me just ask this question in a very upfront sort of way. We're trying to learn about the Purusha. Who cares if Indra knows about, number one, what are the four quarters? What does that have to do with anything? You see, this is why a person with a mid-level range of knowledge will read the Vedic scriptures and they'll literally think to themselves, well, this was just all thrown together. It's meaningless. I can't understand this. What is this about? Well, it's about a lot. First of all, what are the 4 quarters? This is meant to indicate all directions, not just the 4 directions. There are 4 primary directions, as we know, but by inference, again, what is being said here is Indra, and now qualifier, who knows all the 4 quarters. In other words, who really knows a lot, who knows about the totality of the universe, etc. So it's a qualifier to now make you understand that now what it's about to say about Indra is important, because it's explaining who Indra is. He's someone who knows. That's the shorthand. This Indra, who knows, who is qualified to know, and now what, also spoke about him. All right. Now, with these last few words, we can almost, in a way, repeat what we said about Brahma. This shows you the position of Indra, that he is in an inferior position hierarchically. It also shows you, again, why is it using the same word to refer to the Purusha? He knows about him. Who? Someone who he wishes to know. In other words, someone who is vastly superior to him, thus God. So what is it saying? Indra is not God. Brahma is not God. Otherwise, they wouldn't wish to praise, to know that which is infinitely above them. That's what you point to. That's what you look at. That is the end goal. So, indeed, again, we could almost repeat what we said. And again, why is it saying this? Indra, who also knows all the 4 quarters, also spoke about him. Now it's speaking to us in terms of knowledge. You wish to have knowledge, you say. You wish to have philosophical, not games, not fun and games. You wish to have philosophical certitude, you say. Well, here is someone who does. Here is Indra, who knows so much more than you ever will know in 1,000 lifetimes. And what did he do? He also spoke about him, about Purusha, about the Supreme Being. So this is giving us very clear understanding that indeed if we wish to know God, well, again, here's the hint. It's nice how it's speaking in hints. If you're philosophically attuned, but more than that, if you are sincere, if your heart is pure, if your mind is pure, you'll get these hints. Oh, you want to know God? All right. So did Brahma, who praised him. You want to know God? Okay, well, so did Indra, who knew a lot, but still spoke about God. So thus, this is the process. We learn about God, we come to realization about the supreme absolute truth via this process of hearing from higher authority. Now let's go on. All right, and now, here we are. Anyone who knows him thus. So again, the whole point. Anyone who similarly does what Brahma did, what Indra did, and then by extension, anyone who knows God. We could continue with a vast list of names. You could include all of the truly advanced devas and devis. You could include all the rishis, etc., etc. So by following in their footsteps, so again, anyone who knows him thus, so in this way, will become immortal even in this life. Will become immortal even in this life. Now, what does this mean? You know, it's interesting, amritam. It's interesting how this term immortal is something that you find, especially in the earlier layers of the Shruti literature. This is going very technically deep, but that's all right. This is something that you especially hear in the earlier layers of the Shruti literature. Why is this the case? Because with the earlier layers of the Shruti literature, that is the 4 Vedas and the Brahmanas specifically, those 2 genres of literature, this is one of the goals of these literature and the people who devote themselves to such Vedic literature, is that they're seeking immortality. Now, not necessarily with full knowledge. They don't quite understand what that means. But they're seeking that amritam. They're seeking that immortality, that nectar of immortality. But in some cases, very sadly, in almost a slightly materialistic way, spiritual materialism, to the point where they just don't want to lose who they are and what they have. You know? But that's all right. With that understanding that that also is what many people are looking for, what is being pointed to here really is a type of immortality that, yes, lower echelon spiritual people will appreciate. But in actuality, what it's talking about is that highest immortality, i.e., understanding and recognizing Vedantically that it's not a matter of immortal versus mortal. It's a matter of I am an eternal, necessarily existent being, whether I want to be or not. And it's really a matter of, if there is a dichotomy, knowing that and living that versus not knowing and living that. So thus, we'll become immortal even in this life. Now, what is something else that this is pointing to? Very nice, important concept. That is a Vedic concept. And again, it's sad, only I know this because, I know everything about contemporary Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma debates that go back and forth, blah, blah, blah. Today, there is some little bit of debate about whether this idea that a person can still be embodied but also be liberated, whether that is in fact the case. There are some people, and this is only very recently, believe me, recent meaning, the last few hundred years, that there are some people who say, no, your body has to die for you to become liberated, for you to truly be liberated. The Vedic scriptures disagree. And indeed, this was not a debate until very recently. It really was not. The Vedic scriptures make it very, well, here we are, right here. This verse from the Shruti literature makes it extremely clear. But there is verse after verse after verse after verse all throughout the Vedic scriptures that make it very clear that this concept of Jivan Mukta, what is called Jivan Mukta, Jivan, Jiva, Jivana, Mukta, liberated, being liberated while still being an Atman within the material world. That's what a Jiva is. For people who never understood the difference between the terms Jiva and Atman. Atman is pure self, unadulterated, pure, without any material taint, any egoic taint, etc. Jiva is that Atman within illusion. That simple. That's how the term Jiva, Jivana, that's how these terms are used throughout the Vedic scriptures Sanskritically. That being the case, what this is pointing to is that indeed, an individual can still be within this world, within their physical frame, but internally they are absolutely liberated. Again, will become immortal even in this life. It could not be more clear. It's kind of like, is that a rock you're holding in your hand? I am holding a rock in my hand. Plain English. And yet people want to debate. No, he's holding a 1957 Chrysler in his hand. No, and make up whatever you want. Make up whatever you want. So it's interesting how, again, the Vedic scriptures very often make something very clear. And then much less intelligent people will debate about that as if it's not conclusive. Well, this is conclusive. Jivan Mukta, the idea that a sage can be still embodied, still within this world, still operating within this world, and yes, with all of the laws of this world, they can still get ill once in a while, they still get old, etc., etc., etc. They still have to eat and sleep, etc., but they are liberated within. This is what makes this very clear. So now let's go on a little bit more. For attaining liberation, there is no other path than knowledge of this Purusha, the Supreme Person. Now, again, I've said this a few times. I'm someone who, I don't just appreciate literature. I've studied literature academically, everything from poetry to epics. And when that's the case, if you enjoy literature, you truly appreciate very good literary constructs, whether it's in the form of just a verse, a quatrain, whatever it is, then what to speak of anything bigger than that? Oh, a passage, a chapter, an entire book that is just formulated grammatically and idea-wise, poetically, perfectly. This verse is perfect. This verse is very nice in that you see the logical sequence that is here. This is the perfect siddhanta of this verse. And how does it end? Well, having told you everything that it told you, now it ends in this way. For attaining liberation. In other words, if your goal is liberation, if your goal is indeed to have spiritual liberation, now what does it say? Do what I just said. That's what the verse says. For attaining liberation, there is no other path. Now, let's stop there. Again, I've pointed this out to people again and again, and especially for the, again, New Age types and the radical universalist types, the ones who believe that anything that you want to make up and call a path, it's all good, it's all one, it's all the same, you all end up at the top of the same silly mountain, etc., etc. The Vedic scriptures, just in the last 5 years that we've been doing live streams, what to speak of decades before that I've been doing talks, once in a while we come, and pretty often actually, we come to a verse in one Vedic scripture or another that will make it this clear and this stark. Do such and such, such and such, such and such, there is no other path. Do such and such, such and such, such and such, this is the only way. Now, to the mind of the debilitated mind of many moderns, that sounds very intolerant. To the mind of someone who has humility, this is the most assuring thing imaginable. What you're being told very simply is, it's as if you're being told by your mother who loves you. Your mother who truly loves you. It's like you're being told, you know, dear, no, this is how you do this. Oh, you want to learn how to make these cookies that I've made all my life perfectly? This is my recipe. This is my recipe. Let me show you. Listen, watch. You do this. You see? You do this. Do you have any questions so far? No? Okay, good. Okay. You do this. Throw in the oven for this amount of time. You take out. Taste. Delicious. This is what the Vedic scriptures are telling us when they say there is no other path. It's not sectarian. Please keep in mind, when the Vedic scriptures were written, there were no sects. There was no vested interest. Again, this is what modern atheists, keep that in mind. Let me repeat that. Atheist scholars say, oh, they're just trying to, it's just polemics. They're just trying to convince you to follow their thing for some selfish... No. When this was written, there was only one religious path upon the face of the earth, and that was Sanatana Dharma. It wasn't, oh, root for our team. Come to our sect. There were no sects. Sects are something that are a poison of the Kali Yuga. Rather, it's like that mother who's trying to teach you how to make those perfect, beautiful cookies like she does. And having taught you, what does she then tell you? If she, is a good mother and a good teacher, she says, oh, and listen, I've perfected this. Don't mess with it. This is it. I just showed you my recipe. You love my cookies? You loved my cookies all your life? Yes, Mom. Here you go. This is the way that you can duplicate them. This is what's being said here by there is no other path. So there is no other path than knowledge of this Purusha. In other words, what was said previously in the previous sentences here. You want to know what? The Supreme Person. Do what's being said here. Listen to the teachings, the utterances of those beings who, spiritually speaking, are way above you. And not with a silly number that you would put on it. Oh, yes, Brahma knows, he must know 10 times more than me. He must know 100. No. Again, like I said previously, you're an ant trying to understand mathematics. That's how much more knowledge these beings have than you. And they're telling you. Praise him. Know Him, and you will have liberation. Absolute liberation. For attaining liberation, there is no other path than what has just been stated in the previous sentences. Knowledge of this Purusha, the Supreme Person. That is how we have liberation. And why is this the case? Because that Supreme Person is the summum bonum. This Supreme Person is the highest reality, is the highest good, above which there truly is nothing. What is God? That than which nothing greater can be conceived by anyone at any time, under any circumstances. And this is what we wish to know. This being the case, to have full realization of Him, the Purusha, that Supreme Person, that in and of itself is the very definition of liberation. Very good. So, what am I going to say here? Yes, actually, not even an executive decision. No, we're going to stop here. One verse. One verse. For people who don't understand the inside joke, for the last 3 sessions, I've wanted to do multiple verses, but then we end up spending a long time analyzing, dissecting with the finest scalpel one verse. One verse a week. So now this is the 3rd week in a row that we've done this. But indeed, I really do want to see if there are any questions from anyone. Earlier today, I made a somewhat surprise appearance on a discussion group in our Discord server where, they were having a beautiful discussion, many ISDS devotees about various philosophical things. And when that happens, once in a while, I'll just kind of pop in a little bit toward the end, see if there are any questions from anyone. And I did that earlier today. So I answered some questions, but I couldn't get to everyone. So I told them, come to the live stream and ask your questions if I couldn't get to those questions then. But indeed, if there's anyone out there and you have any questions about Sanatana Dharma, about the Purusha Sukta, please feel free to ask. That's, of course, true for the individuals here as well, etc. Very good. All right, I see one question here. Give me 1 second. All the questions are streaming in now that I said that. So I lost it for one moment. Let me find it again. I saw one question that came in a little bit before I finished my talk, but that's all right. And the question is doing the Hare Krishna mantra appropriate for Westerners? And it's so interesting how, again, earlier today when I was answering people's questions on our Discord server, I actually addressed this, and I've actually addressed this thousands of times, without exaggeration. Over the course of the last 50 years, thousands of times. Any of the names of God that are revealed in the Vedic scriptures that are Vishnu Tattva in content, i.e. they're the names of Vishnu, of Narayana, of Krishna, so thus of what's technically called Vishnu Tattva, of God Himself, has the ability to liberate us if we meditate upon it. This means everything from Om Namo Narayanaya to Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, to the names of Krishna, the names of Rama, the names of Narasingha, the names of Kalki, etc., etc., etc. As long as it is of the nature of Vishnu Tattva, and the scriptures make this clear. We've covered verses that make this clear in the past. Feel free to look for the videos. As long as the mantra is first, again, a revealed, authentic mantra in the Vedic scriptures, and it is addressed specifically to God, not a lower deva or devi, not some lower god or goddess, but to what technically is called Vishnu Tattva. God, any of His avatars, any of His angshas or expansions, plenary expansions, etc. It has the ability to give you liberation. So you ask here about the Hare Krishna mantra. Is it appropriate for Westerners? Any Vedic mantra is appropriate for any sincere individual who wants to know God. It has nothing to do with Westerners or Easterners whatsoever. So indeed, if you find yourself attracted to the Hare Krishna mantra, and I'll state this very simply, please meditate upon it. Don't just chat it like a parrot. Don't just chant it like a parrot. Rather, you have to meditate upon the sound vibration of the divine name of Krishna, and you will have liberation. So I hope that answers the question. Good question. Just a nice comment. Someone here says, these verses are dense. Yes, they are. That's putting it very lightly. They are indeed very dense. Someone here, another nice comment. A single verse from the Vedic scriptures is a blessing. Indeed. Indeed. It's an amazing thing. And I think that with these live streams, especially the way we do them in the International Sanatana Dharma Society, which is indeed using traditional mimamsa techniques, that is exegetical analysis. Oh yes, you can focus on one verse of the Vedic scriptures, if it's a philosophical verse, not necessarily a narrative verse, but a philosophical verse. And oh, indeed, to enter into the inner layers, the depths of that verse in and of itself is the greatest of blessings. That's why people can probably tell how much joy I get when I examine these verses with everyone. Because it's not a matter of just examination, in the scientific sense. It's depth. It's going deep into these verses in a very contemplative and spiritual and devotional sense. When we do that, oh yes, each verse is amazing. Very good. All right, here's another, I believe, at least two-part question, maybe more. I see two parts here. Give me one moment. Namaste, Acharya-ji. I hope you are very well. Yes, indeed. I've never done better. Thank you for asking. And likewise, I hope that you and your family are doing very, very well in every way. This might seem silly. I have had lots of coincidences happen involving Krishna in some way recently, and not so recently. How can I know if it is Krishna or not? And then there's continuation. Sorry to also continue. No apologies. It's a good question. Could a child be born into a family and to continue as a devotee? And how would one know other than the child just showing an affection to Krishna? Very nice. Two different questions. So I'll definitely address these both a little bit separately. First, you ask about coincidences that happen involving Krishna in some way, and not so recently. How can I know it is Krishna or not? Several things to be said about this. It's similar to having dreams about Krishna. It's similar to finding yourself in a place where the last thing you expect is to suddenly see an image of Krishna somewhere, and you do. These are all meaningful. Now, of course, I understand why you're asking in this way, because we know that some, of course, what am I going to say, New Age people, they artificially try to find meaning in every single thing that happened, to the point of silliness. So I know you're a sincere person. You're trying to avoid silliness like that. But at the same time, I have said that specifically when it comes to encountering Krishna, encountering the Guru, encountering gurus of the past, Prabhupada, etc., whether it's in a dream, whether, you find yourself in a place where the last, and this has happened to me multiple times. When I was a child in New York, when I was a teenager in New York, I would find myself, of course, in New York City, in some neighborhood where the last thing I was expecting was to find something connected to Krishna. And I'm walking along and I look, and suddenly on the second floor of a small apartment building, there is a poster of Krishna in the window facing outward. That's happened to me. And I'm in this practically ghetto, and I'm walking around, and there's Krishna looking at me. So it does happen. And let me tell you, when those instances happened to me, I always took it as something auspicious, because again, this is not just anything. This is God himself in the image of God. So indeed, it is something that is of significance. Now, the real question, of course, is what is that significance? That would be harder to know. And that I certainly can't answer unless I know the specific circumstances. But the important thing is that there is significance that is there. And certainly, at the very least, anything like that happens to you, to your loved ones, in conjunction with your loved ones, you do need to take it very seriously. you need to pause for at least a few seconds and acknowledge Krishna. Acknowledge that, oh, Krishna is here with me, and thank you, Lord Krishna, for giving me confirmation of this. At the very least, that's something that should be done. Again, people have asked me about dreams. Dreams about the guru, a real guru, not a fake guru, but a true guru. I'll use Prabhupada as an example. When you have a dream of Prabhupada, it's of significance. When you have a dream, certainly of Krishna, of Rama, of any aspect of God in this very personal sort of way, it is of significance. So I would definitely pause and contemplate it. So, and you ask, and how can I know if it is Krishna? I think I answered that. If Krishna appears in any form, it's Krishna. And then you say, just to remind myself of your second question, could a child be born into a family and to continue as a devotee? And how could one know other than the child just showing an affection to Krishna? First of all, it's really two questions. Could a child be born into a family in order to continue their spiritual growth? Yes, absolutely. In fact, Krishna himself speaks about this in Bhagavad Gita. That if there is a great yogi, a great bhakta, someone who's on the spiritual path, they don't quite achieve the goal just yet, but they pass away. Oh, they will be born again in a wonderful family. And it makes this very clear. They will be born in a family where, in one way or another, the circumstances will be there such that they can continue to make spiritual progress. And this is what's interesting. It doesn't even have to be, this is even better, but it doesn't even have to be that they're born in a family, let's say, of Vaishnavas. But no, they're born in a certain family where, in one way or another, even materially, they are afforded the opportunity to begin again to inquire into the nature of the Absolute and then continue their path. So, yes, that is indeed something that is the case. And then you say, and how would one know? How would one know other than the fact that the child is showing affection to Krishna? That's how you would know. Children are children. What does that mean? That means that they're innocent. That means that they are very straightforward. That means that they are what they are. And what they're interested in is legitimately what they're interested in. If you're talking about a young child, they're not going to play games and pretend, oh, I'm 3 years old. Really, all I want to do is play in the mud, cause trouble, etc., etc. But my parents really seem to be into this Krishna. Let me pretend I'm interested. A child doesn't think that way. A child is just straightforward. That being the case, if a child expresses a natural, very honest, which they would, affection toward Krishna, that's a special child. That's a special child. And I'll leave it at that. With that, let me see if there are other questions here. It's 3:15. We won't go on for too much longer. Very good. I'll answer this. I've answered this many, many times, but I'll answer this again because it is a question that comes up frequently and that people need to know. And it's a good question. That is, Namaste Acharyaji. Is reincarnation systematic? As in, does it follow a specific set system, like bloodlines, for instance? Is it up to an individual's karma, or is it purely random? Nice. These are several questions, but all of which are revolving around reincarnation. And I will answer all of this, and interestingly, almost of necessity in reverse order. Actually, I'll start with the latter question and then work my way on up. And before I even do that, first I have to offer this preface so that you can understand the question in all of these contexts. And that is this. There is no such thing as reincarnation without karma. And that's something that people sometimes lose sight of. Or again, in the case of maybe New Age people, they never even thought about putting the two together. There's no such thing as reincarnation without karma. Karma causes reincarnation. Otherwise, reincarnation would be random. If reincarnation is not caused by anything, but, just literally kind of a lottery of bodies. Oh, here's a lottery. I'll spin the wheel. What am I going to be this time? Oh, I'm going to be an egret. Oh, all right. I'm going to spin it again. Oh, I'm going to be a king. Well, that's better. No, it's not random. So the reason why we reincarnate is because as we act within this world, we are making ethical decisions. We are making decisions that either are ethically good, ethically bad. That being the case, with every decision we make, we are forming our own consciousness in the present, but also extending into the future. That being the case, not only are we forming who we are psychically, psychologically, which will then determine how we're reincarnated, on top of that, there is the reciprocal idea of karma itself, that, oh, if we do enough bad things, we need reciprocity. If we do enough good things, we need reciprocity. So thus, it is karma that determines reincarnation, and that karma is produced exclusively by we, the individual, in accordance with our free will decisions. So all that being understood, again, now I will go through these questions. So is it purely random? No, as I just explained. There's no such thing as random reincarnation. We create who and what we are into the future. So indeed, it is indeed up to an individual's karma. So again, that was answered as well. Each of us, and Sanatana Dharma, as is true for all of the ancient paths, interestingly. People like to talk about the ancient paths, but 99% of people don't really know them very well. There really is no ancient path, and I mean truly ancient. I'm talking about Sanatana Dharma, I'm talking about Taoism, I'm talking about even Zoroastrianism, I'm talking about Buddhism, etc., etc. There is no ancient religion that says that we are purely determined beings and we have zero free will. No, they all agree that we have free will. Oh, there are also things that occur to us that we have, no choice over. For example, we have no choice as far as the law of physics. I have free will, but I can't jump out of an airplane and will that I'm going to fly to the ground. So within the context of reality, we have free will. Every ancient tradition teaches this. Well, Sanatana Dharma understands this more than any ancient or modern tradition in existence. That indeed, because we have free will, we make our choices color our inner world, who and what we are. That being the case, that also determines how we will be reincarnated. Now, let's continue with the other questions. Now, you ask about bloodlines. So I assume what you're asking is, as a result of reincarnation, is it possible that an individual will be born in their same bloodline again and again and again? And I've answered this many times. Yes, there is a very distinct possibility that that is the case, but it's not necessary. Because again, how we reincarnate, what we're going to be in our next life, is purely determined by our own free will decisions. That being the case, given the number of human beings that exist on this and multiple other similar planets within the Manusya system, the system of humans, there is no limit to the combination of decisions that will be made, and thus how people will have to be reincarnated. So that being the case, it's not guaranteed that you will be born into your same bloodline, into even your same race, even into your same species. So it's not guaranteed. Everything being overall neutral as far as our decision-making processes, is it possible that over the course of several lifetimes we are born within the same bloodline? Oh, absolutely, that can happen. But throughout the entire stretch of our reincarnation history, no. Statistically speaking, no. We can be born anywhere. We can be born as a god. We can be born in the hellish regions. We can be born as a tree. Is a tree in your bloodline? Maybe. Maybe not, but most likely not. I know an egret is not. So, etc. And then you ask, is reincarnation systematic? Does it follow a specific set system? I believe you know the answer now. Yes. Yes. It is part of Dharma. It is as real as the laws of physics. So indeed, it is a set system. Good. So I hope that answers the questions that you had. Very good questions. And I'm glad you asked them actually in a very logical sequence. That was quite nice. Very good. Let me check the time. And as always, especially for our people who are here in our temple, how are we doing with time? Are we doing okay? We'll end. Should we end pretty soon? Yeah, okay. I'll take one more question, actually. And that being the case, I have to look at these and see if there's one question I can answer somewhat quickly. And as I always have to say, if I do not get to your question, please understand it's only due to time. No other reason. Ask your question again next time, and if I see it a little earlier, I can answer your question. But let me just look at these, please. All right, very good. I am going to answer 2 questions because each of them I can answer quick. Okay, but then I'm going to stop there. This is the first one that I'll answer. Namaste, Sri Acharya-ji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Could you offer us some words of hope in Brazil, where we are suffering from the abuses of our Supreme Court against conservatives? Again, I try not to talk about politics in any way, but this is more of a moral question than anything. And yes, let me answer this for you and all of our viewers in Brazil, and we have many who are there, actually, and followers of the ISDS. Let me say this. You should have nothing but hope. There's going to be justice in your nation. This is what I was saying earlier at the very beginning, that, you're going to see things still happening that seem sometimes a little dark, again, outweighed by 100 good things, but still, we're going to see a few bad things continue to happen. What's the example? An example that Prabhupada would give. You have let's say a fan, and it's going at full speed, as fast as it can go. You're looking at it, you can't even see the blades. It's going so fast. Well, you want it to stop. You want to guarantee it's going to stop? You want an absolute guarantee? Unplug it from the wall. Guaranteed it's going to stop now. Does it stop the second you unplug it? No, it's still going. It's still going. But be patient. Look once in a while. It's going a little slower. It's going slower now. Now even slower. Now it's going like this. So slow. You understand, you know it's going to stop. And it will, and it does. But again, in the beginning it may not seem like it. In the same way, I know intimately what is happening in Brazil right now. And I know that demons are ruling your nation right now. And when I say demons, yes, you mentioned the Supreme Court. The individual in charge of the Supreme Court, you look at his face, you look at an image, feel free, have fun, Google him. He has the face of a demon. His nickname should just be Demon Face. So indeed, I know Brazil is being ruled by demons right now. Good will triumph there, I promise you. Individuals who are being persecuted now, even given stiff jail sentences, they're going to see the light of day again. They're going to smell the air of freedom again. They're going to breathe in deeply the air of freedom again. They will be free. Not only will they be free, the good individuals will triumph and rule your nation again. And those individuals who are demons, whatever their haughty position is right now, chief of the Supreme Court, will themselves end up in prison until their dying day. Your nation is going to be freed. Just please have a little bit more patience. And again, don't do nothing. Do whatever little you can within, of course, the context of all the laws of your nation. Continue to try to wake up people around you. Do whatever you can, but understand that indeed freedom and goodness will triumph in your nation. And then the last question that I'll take, at least for now. Namaste, Sri Acharya-ji. Most humble greetings to you. Thank you so much. The same to you. Can you please speak on the 4 faces of Brahma? Yes, indeed. Several things to be said about this, actually. And it's interesting. It may sound like an inconsequential, strange little question, kind of like asking, why is Krishna blue? But no, it's actually something that's been spoken about in the Vedic scriptures. Several things to be said about this and the background of this. First of all, let's start with the very basics. Indeed, the Brahma of our specific Brahmanda, of our specific universe, has not just 4 faces, mukha, but 4 heads, very specifically, one facing in each of the directions. Now, some people might find that perplexing and strange, but no, there's a reason why this is the case that is explained in the Vedic scriptures themselves. And that is that 2 things specifically, and there's more, but again, I want to end somewhat soon. There are probably about 7 things to say about this, but the 2 most important are these. First of all, each of the Brahmas, because each universe has a Brahma, and there are multiple universes, each of them has multiple heads. There is not a Brahma with one. They necessarily have multiple heads because of what I'm about to say. It is indeed the very process of 2 things, cosmogony itself, but also awareness of what is occurring within one's domain. The reason why Brahma has multiple heads is because in the process of creation, this is necessary for the expansion of the universe. Brahma being a being who is composed ontologically of buddhi, i.e. intellect, the way that he creates is first and foremost through buddhi, and then everything as far as the various elements devolving from that. That being the case, this is why he has 4 multiple faces, multiple heads. This is part of the process of creation itself. The second thing of, like I said, maybe about 7, the second thing of importance is that each Brahma will have a different number of heads in accordance with the universe that they're in. And why is that the case? It's in accordance with the size of that specific universe. The larger the universe, the more heads of necessity, and again, linking to the first thing I said, due to the process of cosmogony, creation, the larger the universe, the more heads that Brahma will have. So in our universe is considered one of the smaller ones. Again, it doesn't get any smaller than 2 heads of Brahma. There are no Brahmas with a singular head. There are 2 heads, 3 heads, in our case 4 heads. It's a smaller universe. But there are some Brahmas with 100 heads, with 1,000 heads, with 50 heads, etc. And this is the reason why. It corresponds with the size of the universe, and necessarily so as a result of the very process of cosmogony or creation itself, that it is indeed through the intellective process, i.e. head, that the Brahma creates and expands a specific Brahmanda or universe. So I said this very quickly, but does this all tie in together and make sense? Very good. So that is the answer to your question. Nice. So with that, again, as I said, of necessity, we're going to have to stop here. Please join us again the next time that we get together, and we will do one of 2 things. We'll either continue with the Purusha Sukta, or we may have a pure Q&A for the duration of the time. Q&A? All right. I don't make these decisions. My students make these decisions for me, which gives me much more confidence. Next time we will have a Q&A session for the duration of the hour or so that we are together. Again, before we end, let me first of all, again, thank all of you for being here. I want to thank all the people who asked all of these questions. Something I always forget very quickly, I want to thank our moderators. We have a team of moderators who are the best moderators in the world, probably. And I don't say that lightly. They're extremely good. Many of them are invisible. You don't always see their names here, so don't think you know all of our moderators. Trust me, you don't. Many of them don't comment on here or anything. They're just in the background, just making sure that this once a week realm on YouTube remains as sattvic as possible, etc. But thank you to all of our moderators for all the wonderful work that you do. And again, if you have not had a chance, I see that the link is here. Please join our Discord server. And very quickly, our Discord server is a discussion forum for members, followers, sincere individuals of the ISDS who want to discuss Sanatana Dharma in a very real, very productive sort of way. There are live discussions that take place, usually led by my students. Like I said, I'll appear once in a while in one of these and maybe answer some questions. but there are things that happen live all the time. There's chat 24/7. We have devotees in approximately 70 nations. So whatever nation you're in, pretty much you'll find compatriots who are there. So please join when you have a chance. The other thing is, please visit our website, dharmacentral.com. And on dharmacentral.com, you'll see links to all of our books that we have written. I've written about 13 books. There are many more that are coming. These days, I have the time now to do a lot more writing. My goal is to put out many dozens more books. But those are available on dharmacentral.com. This being our chief book, Sanatana Dharma, The Eternal Natural Way. So please feel free to go on to there, purchase our books. Also, again, we have a movement. This is a force within the world that is here now as a result of the will of God, and its only goal is to restore Dharma to our world. It's a force known as the International Sanatana Dharma Society. Please help us. Again, I'm just very honest with people. I'm not going to spare words or play games. Donate to us. Please help us financially. Please become a member of the ISDS. Become a tithing member. Give something every month. Again, if you can volunteer and help us, that would be wonderful. But on Dharma Central itself, especially if you go to the menu, you'll see a place where you can donate. You can make a one-time donation. You can sign up for monthly donations, which is something we very greatly appreciate. It helps us to budget year by year, month after month, etc. So we know what funding we have to work with. So please help us in that way. And with that, again, everyone, please join us next time we get together. And between now and then, namaste. And everyone together. Jaya Shriman Narayana.
Jaya Shriman Narayana.
Jaya Bhagavan Shri Krishna.
Jaya Bhagavan Shri Krishna.
Jaya Shri Guru.
Jaya Shri Guru.
Sanatana Dharma Jayate.
Sanatana Dharma Jayate.
Dharma Rashtra Jayate.
Dharma Rashtra Jayate.
Surya Vangsha Jayate.
Surya Vangsha Jayate.
International Sanatana Dharma Society Jayate.
International Sanatana Dharma Society Jayate.
May Dharma be victorious in our world today. Evam bhavatu. May it be so. Oh, and I guarantee it will be so. And with that, everyone, again, continuing, I leave you with these words of Bhagavan Sri Krishna from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 66, wherein he says, Ma shuchaha. Do not fear. Do not fear. Do not fear. And everyone, please take good care of yourselves in every way.